What's up everyone, welcome to my channel, Sam's Outlook. It is so hot in my room right now. My sweat glands are working hard. But look, I'm getting some quarantine weight. My belly be protruding. Look at that. Ow. But the silver lining is, my hair is cut though. Look at those sides, girl. Look at those sides. Yeah. This is the part 2 of my coming out story video. If you haven't watched part 1 already, I'll leave a link to that somewhere. You'll be able to find it. If you have watched part 1, that was so emotional and so heavy. For some reason in my mind, I'm picturing all of you guys coming to this video feeling like this. Woo! But this video is not going to be like that at all. We are not here to make you cry. I'm basically going to be telling you guys how I came out to my family and my friends, and the story behind what happened, because it wasn't all one single event, it was staggered over different periods of time. Basically, I'm standing in my room ready to tell y'all how I basically looked my family and friends in the eye and admitted to them that I like to suck. Listen, gay men are some of the most courageous men out there. Gay men go through life, right, having to gear themselves up to the one day where they're going to sit down in front of their fathers and look them in the eye and tell them that they like to suck. That takes more balls than any man I've ever known. Cheers to that. So, given everything I said in my last video, I kind of thought coming out to my family would be a bit like this. Guys, there's something that I've been meaning to tell you for a long time. I'm gay. Son, if you want to be gay, be gay. That's your choice, but not under my roof. Okay. Holy! Okay, so thankfully that didn't actually happen. The first person I ever came out to was my friend via FaceTime. I was living in university halls and I decided, you know what? I've now got the courage to say it to somebody. I'm just going to call her and I'm just going to say it and then we'll see what happens. And to be fair, I did do it over FaceTime because I could have ended the call if I wanted to, and I didn't need to fear, the backlash of somebody being in front of me. It was so unexpected for her when I said it. That was not the FaceTime call that she was expecting, let's put it that way. She reacted very nicely. She reacted obviously in shock to begin with and didn't really understand initially what to say, but then now she's become one of my closest allies and we're still the best of friends. And then to the rest of my friends, don't make the same mistake that I did, where you don't check the calendar and figure out what day it is before you then decide to tell your friends that you are gay. Because if it is April Fool's Day, they're not going to believe you, and that's going to make it a whole lot harder. We all went to Nando's and I was sitting there, we were eating, and I had my court peri-peri chicken hot with my rice and my coleslaw, and I was mulling away. I just said, by the way guys, I am gay, and they didn't believe me because it was April Fool's Day. Why of all days would I tell them on April Fool's Day? Only I would do that. But so I told them then, and they obviously struggled to believe me. They had to call my friend that I FaceTimed earlier and then confirm it with her, because I said that, look, she'd known for a while and she's been helping me through dealing with this and giving me courage to come out to you. So hopefully, this will make you believe it. And then eventually they did. And understandably, as expected, they were initially quite shocked. And I was quite shocked that they were shocked, because throughout my entire school life, I was 100% sure that they knew that I was gay. And they surprised me because they were like, yo, we were actually joking. I didn't think that you were actually gay. What the hell? So then after a year of living out of the closet with my friends and realizing how great life was by being out of the closet, I then decided it was going to be time to tell my family. I chose my dad first. I chose him because he is born and raised in the UK. So he's a British Asian. He has more of an understanding of gay culture in the minimal sense. And I remember I was upstairs, it was a really rainy afternoon, and I was supposed to have been revising for my second year of university exams. Instead of doing that, I was procrastinating hard because I'm such a big procrastinator, you don't understand. Like, just making this video is hard enough for me. basically it was on YouTube, and I started watching coming out videos again of like celebrities, Ricky Martin on Oprah, and that's what I was like, I've been inspired, I'm going to tell him. So I went downstairs, and then it was so, I remember like it was such a dull atmosphere in the house, like it was just dark because it was cloudy outside. And then I'm walking down the stairs like I'm about to tell this man some news that's going to change his life forever. And I went downstairs, and then I sat on the sofa, and he's literally watching TV like this, just like dead staring at the TV. So then I'm like, okay, I gotta say this. And then I sit down on the sofa, like kind of opposite him, and then I just look at him, and he hasn't even made eye contact with him, like, so, Dad, I've got something to say. And he was just like, what, have you got somebody pregnant? And I was like, kind of the opposite of getting somebody pregnant. And then eventually I just said, look, and then I remember I paused. If you're gonna say it, say it all at once, because that pause between I'm and the word gay felt like a lifetime. I think it was probably only 5 seconds. But then eventually I looked at him and I said, gay. And like literally no reaction. I was like, are you gonna react, Dad? And he was just like, no. And I was like, well, why not? I was like, okay then, fine. And then carried on watching TV. And I was so scared because I was like, wait, what? In my head, like I showed you earlier, I was expecting this huge reaction, but he literally didn't even flinch. And I was just like, whoa, what have I done? I've broken him, what the hell? And then I was panicking in my head. I was like, do you want to hug me? And he was like, no. And then obviously then I could sense that there was probably some sort of disappointment there. And he had questions that were initially quite ignorant, but I had a conversation with him and I made him understand. And I said, look, at the end of the day, my entire life, you think you've known me 100%, but you've actually known me 95%. Now you know me 100%. I said, I've always been, gay Sam. The only difference is now that you just know. And he was like quite mature in the response and quite level-headed, and then did his own research and he came back. And then from then on we had further conversations where he did obviously say that, maybe you'll change, blah, blah, blah. And then I had to reassure him that, that isn't going to be the case. And then it allowed him to process it. And then I think a year later, he was just like, okay, this is what's happening, this is my son. And then I came out to my brother via a friend. So one of my friends told him on a night out, and she eventually told him and made him understand, which I'm really thankful for. I was quite scared that he might react the worst to the news, but he didn't, and he was like, oh, okay. And luckily for me, me and him worked in a restaurant which had 2 branches in Birmingham, and I worked in one and he worked in the other. So we knew like colleagues and stuff between ourselves. And I remember he went to work, he told me that he went to work and he was telling people, oh, my brother's just come out as gay, what the hell? They were just like, yeah, we've all known for a long time. It did feel bad to me that like other people knew me from my family, but I think it's more of the smart thing to do that so that you've got a support system outside of your family should everything fail then. So he was quite surprised at that. And everybody was like, and what's your problem? If he's gay, he's gay. Like, why is there such a reaction that you're having? And that helped him understand, thankfully, that like, oh, actually, maybe I'm the one who's weird because I'm the only one out of all of our friends who's reacting so, manically. And then that really helped him understand. And then obviously I had the same conversation that I'd had with my dad, I'd had with him. And then that was that. And then there was still the pressure of telling my mum. So a couple of months later, it was Father's Day. I really know how to pick the days. And my brother was going to get an arranged marriage to somebody my mum had chosen. But then that unfortunately fell through. And I remember having a conversation with my mum saying, why would you be so nitpicky about your daughter-in-law when the truth is you're only going to get one? And then obviously eventually I then told her at the dinner table after, so many arguments and so much tension building up that, look, you're only going to get one daughter-in-law. And then she didn't know what that meant. And I just remember bawling my eyes out. And I always thought that I was never going to bawl my eyes out when I came out to my family. I built myself up to be quite emotionally stable, that like whatever reaction I had, it wasn't going to bother me, and I was going to live my life the way that I wanted it to be and live it openly because that's how it should be. But then when it came out to my mum, I lost that front, and then I just started bawling. And literally crying, like sobbing my eyes out. And my brother then was like, look, he said that because he's gay. And then I remember my mom was shocked, like she was so shocked. And she cried, like every desi dramatic mom, she was crying her eyes out. And I was like, yeah, I've broken my mom. This is it, I don't know what to do. And I felt terrible that, like, you know, now I've come out of the closet to them, they've all gone in the closet together and they're gonna be dealing with this and they're gonna be having so many questions, particularly my mom. And she cried and 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 cried. And then eventually she said to me, Sam, a large part of me crying isn't because I'm upset that you're gay. Yes, that is there. But I'm mainly upset that you were so depressed for so long. And I remember watching you grow up and feeling that way. And I always asked you what was wrong, tell me, and you couldn't tell me. And that was because of what you felt from the culture and what you felt from the religion and everything that, you know, essentially I've taught you. You felt that you couldn't tell me something fundamental about yourself, and I was feeling guilty that you were going through that since you were 8 years old up until now, which is a span of 12 years. And I wasn't able to know. Like, I'm crying for you having gone through that. And that was such a huge shock to me, right? There was me thinking I was going to shock them with my news. She shocked me just as bad back. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? I wasn't expecting this. And then they took the opportunity to understand me, and they took the opportunity to see that obviously I've gone through something right before their eyes, and they saw the repercussions it was having on me by keeping me in the closet, how shy it had made me, how my self-esteem had dropped, how little confidence I had. So now they're definitely on my side in terms of being open and being who I want to be, and well, who I am, not who I want to be. So I'm very lucky to have had that reaction. And then now, my brother is trying to set me up with gay people that he knew. My dad, now when we go to restaurants, me and him have this thing where, like, if the waiter is definitely gay or somebody's gay in public, my dad would just look at me and be like, is he? As if to confirm my gaydar. And then came this elaborate plan that my family had made for me to tell my extended family that I was gay later in the future. Basically, that scenario involved me being at a dinner, right, when I was like 27, when I've got my degrees, I've got my job, and I'm successful, living this successful life. And then eventually I was going to tell everybody that I'm not going to get an arranged marriage because now that I'm of an marriageable age is because I'm gay. And the fact that I've had these years of obtaining a degree and a career behind me, that would soften the blow. And therefore that would outweigh the other and everything would be fine. But little did they know, I had alternate plans. I didn't plan for this to happen, it just happened. Basically, in a nutshell, I came out on TV. Let me explain. My friend and I, who were both single, basically decided to apply for a big TV show on Channel 4 called First Dates. I've always been a fan of First Dates myself, and I always thought watching it that, like, one day if I'm out of the closet, like, I would really love to go on there. But I actually got a call back to be on the show. And then fast forward a couple of months, we filmed the show, and then the series premiered in April, and I was in episode 1. I genuinely thought I was safe from anybody ever seeing it. But what did my date go and do while we were sitting there filming? He went and threw food at my forehead, which obviously makes for good TV and good TV material. So next thing you know, I'm now in an advertisement for the show before it airs. So a week to 2 weeks prior, before the show's premiere, I'm constantly on a rotated advertisement that's on Channel 4, where it shows me being twatted in the face by a biscuit. Right, so I was like, just my luck for that to happen, right? And I was then freaking out. I was like, oh crap, like, I didn't think people were actually gonna watch the show, so I thought I'd be able to get away with it. But now I'm in this advertisement, so people are gonna see that advertisement if they're watching Channel 4, and then they're gonna know to watch the episode. And that is exactly what happened. My aunt called me and just said, I think I've just seen you in a TV advertisement. And she doesn't watch the show, but her daughter does. And then her daughter told her that if he's sitting opposite a boy on the TV show, then that means he's on a date with the boy. And then that's basically when it came out. And then the show premiered and my family knew to watch it, my extended family. And then the reaction following that was quite kind, actually. It's neither here or there. And that's essentially how I came out to them. They were watching me have a date with a guy on TV, watching me be as gay as you can be. And I don't regret it at all. Luckily, they all took it really well. But one thing I found weird is that nobody really speaks to me about it. Nobody really asks me questions about it. It's sort of brushed under the rug. But what I have noticed is that the normal questions that a heterosexual person my age would face of when you're getting married doesn't happen to me anymore. And in a way, I'm kind of relieved, but there's no acknowledgement of the fact that, yeah, I do still want to get married and my love life in general. Nobody asks me about who I'm dating and stuff like that. I guess South Asians don't have that conversation anyway, but I do feel like nobody's addressed anything yet. So the time will tell what will happen with that. But at the moment, everything's fine. And yes, it's all good. I wouldn't recommend coming out on TV because if you're not in the safest environment, probably don't do that. But hey, if it floats your boat and you're inspired to do it too, then go absolutely do it. But it worked for me. So there you have it. That's how I came out to my friends and my family. Hopefully you found that very helpful to hear. I want to leave you guys with 2 pieces of advice before I go. Number 1, make sure that you are in a safe environment when you come out and you have a safe backup in case your parents don't react in the way that you want them to. And secondly, make sure you are ready to embrace all the questions that your parents and your friends and your family will always have when you come out of the closet, because they go into the closet. So don't be offended by what they're asking. Just see it as an opportunity that they're taking to try and learn and understand who you are. I'll leave links in the description box below if you want to go see the first dates video and get second-hand embarrassment of me being absolutely twatted in the face by a cookie. There'll be a link below as well to my Instagram account. This is my handle. Go follow me over there as well. You guys watch YouTube enough to know what to do with this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!